Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Clap Your Hands podcast. Jack Fritz, Eliot Shorr-Parks, James Jackson, all in studio. It's
no big deal.
Vibes are high. Fills are high.
Yeah.
Fills are high. We're about to enter into a nice little vacation. You going on vacation next week?
I am going on vacation.
Where are you going?
Week. I'm going to Maine.
Wow. Oh, yeah. You were talking about this, how you thought it was going to be just kind of like hanging out, having beers.
Yeah,
and
apparently they have like hikes. But
yeah. Are you going to Bar Harbor?
Maybe. I don't know. So we're going, me, my wife, and a bunch of friends, and like all the wives in the group planned it. So like I know me and Kristen tomorrow going to Salem for Hocus Pocus. Gonna go see some sights. Yeah. Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah. I know. Can't wait.
I wonder if you're probably going to Portland at some point.
I was gonna say we're going to Portland next for 3 days, and then after that we're going somewhere else.
Bar Harbor.
Not Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
No, not
Bar Harbor. Yeah, that would be something.
Acadian National Park. Does that ring a bell?
That does ring a bell.
Okay, so you're probably going to Bar Harbor.
Very well versed in the main area.
Yeah, seriously, have you been there?
Yeah,
sounds like it.
I went to Bar Harbor in 2017 when the Eagles. I remember I knew they were going to win the Super Bowl after you know me, Eagles guy,
big Eagles guy.
When they beat the Panthers, I was like, they're going to win the Super Bowl, and we went right after that. And I said I can't die hiking, so I willfully turned around on some dangerous hikes.
Well, this is my thing. So
smart man.
So we're going hiking. I think I can't imagine they're hard hikes.
You got boots? You got proper shoes?
Thing. So Kristen bought hiking boots.
Yes.
That are low ankle.
Yeah.
They're low cut, right?
Top, yeah.
I only have high top hiking boots.
It's fine.
Yeah, ankle support.
Well, but what am I gonna wear shorts with high top ankle boots?
Yeah, but then you got a little high sock action.
I was thinking a little high sock action. So I will
do a nice walking stick too.
That would.
Nice stick.
As someone who liked, again, I hiked 101 miles in New Mexico.
That's absurd. How long did that take you?
Yeah, over
a month?
days.
A week and a half.
100 miles in a week?
Nah.
A week and a half, 2 weeks.
That's like 10, 11 miles a
It
day.
was 10 days, yeah.
That's absurd.
It was awesome.
Sounds awful.
So I'll help you out. Dude, so you're going there. I'm going to Canada.
Yeah.
Going to Banff. I was right around Calgary.
Are you going to be hiking there?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, I guess your profile picture is you hiking.
Yeah, that was in Lake Kolchak, where Zach Bryan got married to his first wife.
So I was about to say, I will say that these are good vacations for Zach Bryan albums.
Dude, I know.
These are like, I'm going to have him on the boat.
I've already thought about it.
Yeah.
I've already thought of it. We are going north just to be outside and listen to Zach Bryan's new album. And James Jackson, are you working next week?
Until Thursday. I'm also going.
I'll tell your boss to let you off.
Yeah, Rochester. and Cam going to Niagara Falls.
Rochester?
Also good Zach Bryan.
My cousin's birthday.
Okay.
And we're making the trip. It's like a half an hour to Niagara Falls, so we're going north.
All right,
Never
man.
been there. One of the 7 wonders, man.
So I have been to Niagara Falls.
Don't ruin it for me.
I won't.
Don't ruin it.
I won't.
But
Buffalo's.
I won't.
And you were about to ruin it for me.
I'm curious here.
We can have it when we come back.
Yeah, then you can tell me. Yeah. You should be excited.
Now, are you going to the Buffalo side of Niagara Falls, or are you going to Canada?
The Canada side of Niagara Falls.
Way better.
Buffalo. I was at the Canada side of Niagara Falls.
Really? Okay. Well, I did not like the Buffalo side.
I had imagined I'd like the Canada side more than the Buffalo side. I don't know.
So before we get into the Sixers, when I was at Eagles Bills, I stayed in Canada, which was silly in retrospect.
Sure.
Over Buffalo?
Yeah, like
on purpose? Or
no, I did the whole Fans of Philly trip, which was awesome. The hotel was really cool, and it is cool to say I've been in Canada, but it's a bit of a pain to go through customs.
Yeah.
We'll
not worth it.
No.
Not worth it.
No.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Oh, that's right. You're going.
So we're all going north.
Yes.
We are all going into the woods.
Have you
apparently.
listened to the new Zach Bryan album?
I have not, no.
All right. This is a part of the pod where you can turn your mic off.
I just caught up to Taylor Swift, so
so you're late. I mean, very different, I will say.
One's very good, one's overrated.
Nah, both have hits.
Taylor Swift has hits.
Yeah, she's got bangers.
I just went through the crash course.
You went through the crash course? What did you start with?
I'd also love
Did you go back to a Love Story?
No, I started with 1989.
Nah, Love Story is her best song. I think so. You don't think so?
Whatever. The only album I like of hers is Folklore. So that's.
I don't know the albums. Yeah.
I'm trendy.
You are. Yeah.
I'm trendy like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't call me a fraud. I know about Folklore.
Big Taylor Swift.
Big Taylor. Yeah. No. All right. So I guess we should talk about the Sixers. Because speaking of Canada, Kyle Lowry's back.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
That's good. That was good.
Thank you. That's what pros do. We'll get into the Embiid Olympic stuff. And actually, speaking of Canada, actually probably would have been a better segue. Would have definitely been a better segue.
Pod title, Speaking of Canada.
Speaking of Canada. So, speaking of Canada, Joel, we'll get to, I guess, Kyle Lowry later.
Yeah, you want to start with Joel?
I want to start with Joel because it was really cool seeing him out there.
Yeah.
Like, seeing him being a part of it wasn't the Olympic Games yet, but seeing him play with all the great players and like being definitely a guy that you look at as like that's one of the best players in the team. Like again, some people do the whole thing. Well, he brought aliens down from above or whatever, and they just looked at the
what thing is this?
Well, people, I think it's like a Bill Simmons thing. Bill Simmons is always like, if aliens came here
right. And you said who's the best player
and watched the game, like, tell us who the best player is. I think it would have been like LeBron, Steph, and Joel.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
although I will say the Steph alley-oop to LeBron looked kind of cooked. He didn't really get up for that oop.
Well, he is.
That's what I'm saying.
40. Yeah. I mean, the fact that he can still do that.
No, I know, but it's the first time I've watched LeBron and thought like, wow, he looks old.
No, they did have a still image of it, and like the peak height LeBron got is like, I'm used to him being way higher.
That's what I'm saying.
Hitting his head on the rim.
Yeah. That wasn't doing that.
He was not doing that.
No.
He was not doing that. But it was just cool seeing Joel out there. I mean, on the number 11, have you gotten your Team USA jersey yet?
I have ordered the Embiid jersey.
I know, but
it's not here. No, it's not going to get here until the end of the month.
That's crushing.
Yeah, I know.
You know the Olympics start in 2 weeks.
I know. Well, it said it'll arrive or ship before July 26th, which is making me think that's right around when the first game is.
Okay, so you should have it for a gold medal run.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were talking about this before the show. Like, I'm happy he's there. It's just like they gotta win the gold. Like it just doesn't change anything. I feel.
Yeah. So I was talking to some of my friends about this, and
let me guess. They said a Joel Embiid gold medal would prove that he's a winner, unlike Bryce, who's a loser.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But so I was thinking, like, how do you think a Joel Embiid gold medal will be received in Philadelphia? Because on one hand, I do agree with you. Well, let me start on the flip side. On one hand, I definitely think it's impressive that he's on the roster.
Yes.
Right? They're presumably going to win the gold. Now, I will say, like, Canada had more players than I expected when I turned the game on.
They're good, man.
Yeah, like they had a lot of guys that was a good NBA team they were facing. And so I don't think winning the gold is going to be super easy. It's not like it used to be where you just like walk through these teams.
Besides your boy AI.
Yeah, besides my boy AI, the winner.
In 04.
But I think that a lot of like the criticism Joel gets, both from broader NBA fans, but also locally, is he's not a winner. Like you can't win with the guy, and he's never won anything. If Joel wins the gold medal, do you think that will change how people view him?
No, but I think that if he loses, it's going to really
I
fuel
agree.
it.
Yes. He basically is in a no-win situation.
100% no
If they lose, he is going to get obliterated locally. And if he wins, honestly, I think he could drop 35 points in the gold medal game and they could win by 2 with him hitting the game-winning shot, and people would still not really like change their perception.
No, I don't think that's totally fair. I think you're a little, and this is not to call you sensitive, but a little sensitive to the Embiid stuff, like especially on WIP.
Right.
I think Twitter people will be very, very happy for him.
You think so?
And I think I'd be happy for him because
I obviously would.
If he goes off in games, if I keep saying game 7, if he goes off in the gold medal game and dominates and has a big game, like that means something. Like him coming out and clearly being the best, most dominant player, I think that's cool. If he just like goes the flow
along for the ride.
Yeah.
I mean, his first game was not great.
It wasn't great, but
I was about to ask, how do we feel about him?
It was very bad.
It's also important though. Like I think all these games are important for the evolution of Joel, because obviously the international game is way different than the NBA game, where it's much more move the basketball. Like you can't just be as physical.
Right.
Like it's a more beautiful game. I would say.
I don't know how just quick side note. I know how I feel about that. Not to be like, what's it called? Like American centric or whatever.
Ethnocentric.
Yeah. I mean, the NBA is the top league in the world. That would be like soccer players coming over here and playing like MLS rules. Like I kind of think.
Is there different rules?
No, they're the same rules. Okay. But the FIBA rules, I guess the only difference is the line is closer for the 3-pointer. There's 5 fouls. But outside of that, it's not like you can travel. So would they just call it differently?
I think it's called differently, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, but listen, I think it's actually important from the standpoint of
competitiveness.
Well, I want him to get better about moving the basketball.
Yeah.
And like doing that.
5 turnovers or whatever.
5 turnovers again.
Wasn't great.
There was a lot of non-Sixers fans that were upset about Joel Embiid.
Well, the NBA Countdown led their show with talking about how he was not good and how he needs to move the ball more, and like how he would have been thrown out if it was a regular season game because of one of the fouls he had on Dylan Brooks, which I disagree with. I don't.
Come on. We've seen that 8 times a night in the NBA.
Right. So here would be one of my concerns from the Joel performance. I think a flaw that's also a positive, but a flaw in Joel's game, and it's emotional, is when Joel is like feeling it. he can drop 70 points. When the Sixers get out to like a 15-point lead and he's cooking and he's at home and everyone's cheering, like he is maybe the best player in the entire league. I think a problem Joel has is when things aren't going well, he like has trouble kind of like recovering from that. So I don't think it's coincidence that he started poorly and it was just like a bad game. He had those 2 fouls, which I don't think were flagrants, but were certainly like, I thought, emotional fouls where he probably fouled harder than he would have if he was having like an awesome game. So I thought there was a little bit of that showing up in the game.
Sure. Yeah. And Embiid's funny too, because this is going to be a really big test of like, on the Sixers, he's clearly the alpha. And like we'll see what happens when PG gets here. Like it's still gonna be
or Maxey,
but it's still Embiid's team. Like they know, go get us a bucket, big fella. The biggest difference for him on this team is like he doesn't have to score, so he's got to find other ways to impact basketball games, which I think is gonna be. I think it's gonna be good for him, especially heading into this year. Mm-hmm. Like I know the first game, whatever. It's the first game of the tournament. Like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it was a scrimmage.
Overall, I just think it's such a positive experience for him.
I agree.
Like I think it has a chance to maybe be something, if the Sixers get it done, like the turning point for Joel Embiid's career.
So I didn't feel that way until I saw the footage of everybody practicing.
Me either.
And the footage of them practicing reminded me a lot of like watching the Netflix documentary on like the Dream Team and like how good those practices were and how competitive they were. And who knows how this team will ultimately be remembered. Now, when they signed Paul George, there was a part of me that thought, man, maybe Embiid shouldn't play. Like the roster's loaded. Like take your time. Like get ready for the season. But to what you just said, I think is true. Is if Embiid gets through this healthy, knock on wood, I mean he likely will.
It's the only thing that like could derail the good vibes.
Exactly. If he were to get hurt, people would be very bad. But if he can get through it healthy and they win the gold, I think it's an awesome experience for him. Like I think it makes him a better player. I think that it helps him from a professional level of just being around the best players in the league. And I also think it helps him to come into the season like ready to go. I mean, the World Baseball Classic a few years ago, I believe there was some debate on like maybe players not coming off of that super hot, but I do think there is a benefit to coming from a tournament right into the season, or at least not as short of a break. Like this is probably the best workout he'll ever have in an off-season perspective.
My only worry with that is that what happens in February and what happens in March.
Is he tired?
Is he a bit worn down? Do they manage him a little bit better? Give him some time off, sit him on back-to-backs. And we talked about that, I think, the last pod. Like, I want them to manage these guys, especially with the add Lowry in. Like, they gotta be smart about this.
Yeah, I agree.
Like getting. I know a couple years ago, I was like, gotta get the 1 seed. This year, I feel like it's just getting through the season healthy and making sure that you're full strength.
I mostly agree with that. I do think we underestimate how much being the 7 seed versus the Knicks maybe impacted things. Like going down 0-2 because you started on the road. I know they won game 5, but let's be honest, they almost didn't.
But I don't think if Embiid's healthy and not missing 2 months, they're not going to be the 7 seed.
I mostly agree, but let's say Paul George plays 60 games or 55 or something. Joel plays around the same. I don't know. I don't think they'll be the 7 seed, but the Celtics presumably are going to win a ton of games. The Knicks, I think, are mostly frauds. Sorry, James. But I do think they'll win a bunch of games.
Not sure why that offends me.
Well, it's a Nova thing.
Yeah, it's a Nova thing.
Not sure why that
the Bucks are interesting. I don't think the Bucks are legit contenders, but I do think they'll be competing.
I think the Bucks are cooked, man.
I kind of think they are too. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if their season was just a disaster.
Well, they're losing Malik Beasley. They're losing...
Game seems like so miserable there.
They've Doc.
Doc.
Game does seem miserable there.
What's your pro Bucks thing?
I just
someone from Nova go there.
No, yeah. DiVincenzo did.
He did. Yeah,
he was drafted there.
Yeah,
I have no tie to Milwaukee, but I do have a little bit of confidence in them to kind of figure things out.
Yeah, but at the same time,
the change mid-season. I know Doc is a doomsday anyway.
You're saying that you give Doc the whole offseason to cook. He's going to come in with a whole bunch of plans.
He's saying it was one of the toughest jobs he could have taken.
Yeah.
But they're not going to win 40 games.
I'm just saying you give any team a combination of Damian Lillard, Giannis, Chris Middleton,
right,
and a full healthy season. I'm not going to say the Bucks are going to win a championship, but to say they fall out of a top 3 seed in the East,
they'll be top 5. I could picture them not being top 3. And then the Magic and the Cavs, while also obviously frauds, are going to win games. So there is a world,
Pacers.
I think, where if they, and the Pacers, your Pacers.
Pacers, we still have to be.
Yeah, so I don't think getting that top 3 or 4 seed is as clear cut as you think.
I just care about the 4 seed. I want the 4 seed. Yeah. I want to get home. I want to get
matters,
home.
But I think they're going to have to play a certain amount of games to get there.
I do wonder what the Celtics look like next year. Like how much are they
drama?
How much are they invested in the regular season?
Yeah.
You know, like, do they care about going back to back? I don't know. I mean, like the Jaylen Brown thing does seem like a bit of an issue. I mean, they picked Derek White over
It
him.
is weird. I bet Jason Tatum take off this. Did you see the clip where he was asked if he'd talk to him and he said no? So there was a clip where he was asked if they talked to him and he said no. And it was like, oh, like there's beef. I think he's just lying and doesn't want to talk about it. Like I don't think Jaylen Brown's gonna have issues with his teammates over this. I think it's a very personal, like, yeah.
It's kind of like the Isaiah Thomas on the Dream Team. I mean, a little bit like it. I don't know. I mean,
It's like that.
I mean, people tried to tear the Celtics apart
multiple times.
Jason Kidd tried to do it in the finals.
I know.
Right.
Like, they're just not. Drew Holiday went on his press conference, was like, yeah, he's right. Jaylen Brown is the best player. Like, they just don't let it.
Yeah.
They just don't let it happen.
The one thing I actually had a Tatum thought off the game. He's just not that guy, man. Like he's just.
Well, he did
to
just win the finals, and
he didn't win the finals.
Points, rebounds, and assists.
The Celtics won the finals.
But he was the best player.
Yeah, he's not that guy.
Not that guy.
He's not that guy.
Not that guy, man.
He's just not. He's not. I'm sure he sees me and says, that guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's that guy.
But he's just,
Canada.
he's fine, okay?
I mean, he's one of the best 10 players in the league. Like,
that's fine.
Well, it's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not that guy. Like, he's not walking to the gym like, bang, there's Jason.
Would you rather have Tatum or Embiid?
Embiid.
Okay.
Dude,
That's an interesting one. I think Embiid is better, but Tatum...
He doesn't do it for me. He doesn't do it for me.
Tatum's won a lot of playoff series.
The Celtics have.
But he's the best player on the Celtics.
But he's got a lot of help.
He does have a lot of help. And Embiid has that help this year, and we'll see what he does.
We'll see what he does. Sounds like you hate Joel Embiid.
I love Joel.
My
second favorite Sixer of all time.
I just watched Tatum in that game. You're not an alpha.
All right, here's a question. Is he closer to Halliburton, or is he closer to, like, an alpha?
Tatum?
Yeah.
Probably Halliburton. I've actually soured on Halliburton.
Well, you were in on him for a little while.
Very in on Halliburton.
Yeah. And he's definitely closer to an alpha than Tyrese Halliburton.
Probably.
I think he is too.
Yeah. Let me cook about Tatum. Down on after winning the finals and leading the team in points.
I'm not accusing you.
Down on Jason Tatum.
I'm not accusing you of this, even though you fit the description perfectly. There's a lot of jealousy out there with Tatum. Like a lot of everyone making fun of him because
I'm surprised you don't call him. I'm surprised you. Oh wait, hold on. Because we obviously did the Batum thing. Is that why you called him Batum?
Yeah.
Because you thought it was Tatum?
For sure.
Even though Batum's been in the league for about 10 years.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of jealousy with Tatum when people thought that they were so ready to be right about him, and then when he proved them wrong, they couldn't take it, so they just moved to something else.
So here's my other thing with Tatum, and the reason why I've always been anti, is I didn't like him at Duke. I was way more in on Fultz than I was Tatum.
That's a bad take by you. I was way more in on Tatum.
Loved Markelle Fultz. I watched
not surprising.
Almost every Washington game. I was all in on Markelle.
Yeah, you had to be all.
What a mess.
He was dope, and he was dope at Washington.
Yeah.
And I remember in high school, like I cared a lot about because he should have been a Terp because he's from Maryland.
Picturing you 12:30 at night watching a Pac-12 basketball.
I did,
game.
dude.
You couldn't even bet on it then.
I know.
Yeah, it was a true sickness.
I was pretty Sixers build, man, for a little bit there.
Still are.
Real quick, you mentioned the scrimmage and how exciting it was.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I am shocked. By the way, I am shocked you have not brought this up yet.
Okay.
Would you trade Joel Embiid for Cooper Flagg?
Well, let me say this. His
brother was out there cooking grown men.
Dude, that's impressive.
I am
grown men.
Stunned how good he looks.
That's impressive.
He might be the next one.
I know.
Yes.
Like he might be the next one.
Would you rather have Wemby or Cooper Flagg?
It's close.
Wemby.
I would much rather have Cooper Flagg.
I might. Cooper Flagg is it looks more durable, looks more athletic.
I mean, dude, Wemby is Wemby is pretty sick. Let's just be real.
We'll see how he does in year 2.
Yeah.
Once the league adjusts.
So where is Cooper Flagg going to college? Duke. And so next year will be his 1 year.
He didn't go to Nova? He didn't want to be part of a winning culture?
Was not on the final 2.
I know you're a true Nova fan when you thought, thank God he didn't go to UConn. That's next level.
We could all be honest here. I was not trying to see Cooper Flagg.
Oh, that would have been cool.
It would have been cool for me to see him.
Right.
I'm glad he's going to Duke.
So he'll obviously be one and done.
Yeah.
If I were him, why would I even go? Outside of just being
the
that
G League's
guy.
lame, man.
Just don't play. Just sit here.
You make money.
Why can't you just?
I would go make NIL money.
Why do you have
NIL money? It's a good point.
It's
a good point.
Why don't you have the dog in you?
I do.
There's no competitiveness out of you.
The difference.
It's just who comes out of here?
Number one player and just sits until they get.
I'll switch this.
Who does that?
I'll switch this on you guys. Why don't you care about the kids for once?
He's fine. This guy, he's going to play at Duke.
But if he gets an injury at Duke, it really, I mean, he'll probably
playing
still
basketball.
Be
but he's
but like he's risking his draft. Like he's risk now. Again, the NIL thing is a game changer.
Skills is what he's doing.
He doesn't need to develop his skills at Duke. Like he's going to be the number 1 pick regardless. But now that he's making NIL money, there is a difference there. I agree. If he was not getting paid, then I'd be like, there's literally no shot he should touch the court.
If you said, why doesn't he just go to the G League to play against grown men? I'd have been like, okay. But sitting a year doesn't do anything for him.
Well, it protects his health to be the number 1 pick to get his contract. But again, because of NIL money, doesn't make sense.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
He'll be fine.
I'm excited to see highlights on Twitter.
Again, well, Kyrie went to Duke, missed almost the entire year with a broken foot. Was it a foot? And then he was still the number 1 pick.
Well, I would have advised Kyrie not to play at Duke.
You're such a hero. Yeah. You're such a hero.
Like when I said if CJ Stroud won the semifinal game, if I was him, I wouldn't have played in the championship game. Because he would have already, like, his stock was all-time high.
Again, you gotta develop some dog.
I know.
You gotta develop some competitiveness.
The national championship game, like the.
Well, no. Actually, my actual take was that I think CJ Stroud should have been rooting for them to lose in overtime.
Dude, who was the quarterback you loved out of Cardell Jones?
Cardell Jones. I was real in on him.
In all time, did he get drafted? I think in the 7th round.
Well, that was one where everyone's like, he should go back. I'm like, chalk that. He did go back. Really hurt his draft stock. And then he should have just came out after he played those like 3 games.
Well, do you remember?
National championship.
Yeah.
Do you remember the story of him beating the kid in Madden?
Yeah, and he smoked him. Like, yeah. I like to see that.
That's the dog we're looking for.
I like to see that. That's the dog
exactly. Cardell Jones, Paxton Lynch. That was a big one for you.
Franchise swag.
Who are your big quarterback crushes throughout the years? I feel like you haven't had a big quarterback.
Actually,
you definitely turned anti-Burrow when he was coming out because
agreed.
Yeah, because anyone that's too popular.
Take. I tweeted when Penn State won that game. I think it was against Michigan or Auburn. I tweeted something like he checks
Cook or something like that.
Yeah, I tweeted like he has every quality you want in a franchise quarterback.
Oh my goodness!
I saw a picture of him recently. It's wild to watch like athletes get old.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I saw him. He's like a podcast guy now. He's got a huge beard and
kind of heavy.
Makes sense.
Hate to shame him, but
yeah. It's what you do.
Yeah,
that is what you do.
What I do.
It's been a while since you've
still a good-looking guy though.
It's been a while since you've had a quarterback take.
Well, I talk about Jalen all the time.
I'm talking draft. A draft quarterback take.
Well, no, I did say I would take Nate Sudfeld over Kyler Murray.
Why?
I said I would take Sudfeld over every quarterback in that draft.
You are sick. You are. Well, one's a Super Bowl champion. What does Kyler Murray want?
Who's a Super Bowl champion?
Sudfeld.
Sudfeld didn't. Oh, yeah. Right. Well, he wasn't on the field.
Yeah, but he was on
Whose ring means more, Carson's or Sudfeld's? Sudfeld at least likes looking at it.
Sudfeld is happy looking at it. Yeah. By the way, have you seen the stories about Carson out in KC?
No, is he killing
Pat
it?
Mahomes said I can see why he was almost the MVP in 17.
Whew. Imagine.
I need a Wentz run.
More likely to start and win a Super Bowl moving forward. Carson or Jalen?
Well, it's only Carson because
Mahomes gets 90% of the way there, and then like he lucks out.
Yeah. I'm just letting everyone know. Don't let Carson get hot.
You're ready.
Don't let Carson
the Bronco sounder ready.
Yeah, dude, I want to hit it right now. I want to hit it right now. So, other things that have happened. Obviously, summer league started. Frankly, I've been watching the Phils. I've seen some, like, just letting you know.
Get out in front of it. Let's get out in front of it.
Let's get out in front of this. Let's get out in front of this. I got the best team in baseball. You know, like the summer league meant something with Fultz.
Yeah.
But
McCain's been
you guys, you talked about it on with Spike and Ike. And once again,
Fritz.
I know.
The eye roll.
Yeah, I know. My name's still on the show.
Yeah.
But you guys are too down on McCain, man. Like, he's clearly an NBA talent.
So I will say I left that segment feeling like I was a little harsher than I felt watching him live.
Noted NBA tape breakdown guy.
Here's my McCain take. Did you watch the games?
I did watch it.
Okay, good job, James.
First game. Yeah.
Here's my McCain take after watching him. I think he is most definitely like, he almost reminds me like of Kyle Lowry, like right now in a weird way. I think he's like a veteran type of rookie.
Fred VanVleet?
Yeah, Fred VanVleet's another one.
Good comp.
I think I made that comp. I don't know if I told you. I think you're copying my comp, but whatever. Just throwing that out there.
Are you using your podcast partner?
Yeah, I just to be clear, that was my comp. But regardless, well, especially because Nick Nurse was his coach. So like, whatever.
Don't get so upset.
I believe you.
Thank you.
My first comp was actually Kobe White, but
yeah, that was yours. I'll give you that one. I think I said Jalen Brunson too.
You just, I didn't see Jalen Brunson in him, honestly.
I think he's like crafty like Brunson.
Yeah, he's crafty.
Like Brunson's not the best athlete. Brunson also foul base.
Brogdon's not a terrible comp. He's a better shooter than Brogdon.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's not Bronny's not a terrible comp at all.
Brogdon, though, not Bronny.
I thought you said Bronny.
No, Brogdon.
I hope Bronny's a terrible comp. I like Bronny, but
if we drafted Bronny 16th overall,
you might as well just take in Bronny at that point.
As a comp.
So my McCain thing after watching him is, I think that he is a smart player. I think that so people always talk about how some NBA players can dribble and some can't. And I'll be honest in thinking, I feel like every NBA player can dribble. But he is one I watched where I thought, no, like I can see why some people say that players can dribble. Like I think he's very good running the point. I think he's smart. It is a little worrisome, not going to lie, that they drafted someone whose best quality is shooting and he immediately went 0 from 6 from 3, considering the Sixers' history. My only concern with McCain is he's a very like below the rim player. And I thought a lot of the baskets he got that weren't 3-point attempts, I just think that in the NBA, like guys are going to block his shot. And I don't think he'll be able to do the whole like up and under thing he does. Like I think that'll get swatted away. So my concern is he looks smaller, like watching him for a full game than he did in the highlights. Which he looks slower to me.
That was my biggest concern, was the small thing.
Yeah, he just looks like not a great. He looks like stout.
Yeah,
which is fine. Like, but I kind of feel the same way I did going in, where I think he has a high floor, and I don't see like Ricky Council. I think McCain will be a better NBA player than Ricky Council. But when I watch Ricky Council or even Adem Bona, like those two to me look like guys that could potentially turn into like special players. I think McCain will be a really good NBA player. I think he'll play good minutes for the Sixers. I don't know if I see like all-star, unless he's just a lights out shooter, in which case he could, but I don't see, averaging 28 points like type of thing.
And I don't think that either. Yeah. Like when I've watched the little McCain stuff that I have, I see a guy that is very clearly going to be an NBA player.
Yes.
But I think he's going to be one of those guys that it's going to take like 2 years. Like, because he's going to get the crafty stuff. Like, he'll find his way, but he's going to get swatted. It's going to take him time to learn.
I think he might already be who he is in a weird way. Like, he'll get better from more experience.
The question is, how high is his upside?
Yeah, like he's already a great shooter. I don't think he's going to become a better shooter. He is not presumably going to grow, although I guess he's like, 20
yeah, but probably not. Like, Maxey had to develop a shot.
Yeah, Maxey had long arms. Well, has long arms.
You've been obsessed with Maxey's wingspan
ever since I found out how long it is.
Because he's not even like a really good defender. Yeah, he's not even like a really good defender.
No, but I do think he's just long and athletic.
Yeah.
Well, long arms, not
sure.
Tall. Yeah,
sure.
I just wasn't like the McCain athleticism was worrisome.
Yeah, I think he's going to take him a couple years. What do you think of seeing McCain?
I will give him credit. He was way better at creating than I anticipated.
I agree with that. Good passer.
Well, and that's one of the downsides of going to a school like Duke. Is there's so many people there, so many stars. Like, you don't have the ball in your hands that much. Now we get to see Jared McCain have the ball in his hands a lot in summer league, and I agree with you on the getting a shot off in the interior, but he's also going to be played with at the most at one time three other scorers on the floor. 3 other people who can give him space.
So it'll space out more. I get what you're saying.
He's on the summer league where him and Ricky Council are the best players. He might be the best scorer on the floor.
Yeah.
At some times. He's not going to be that all the time for the Sixers, but me seeing him create with the basketball in his hands, that was encouraging to me, because that's not what I thought he was going to bring to the Sixers. And that's not why I didn't love him in the starting lineup. That shows me he could be in the starting lineup.
Well, that's why I do think overall I leave Summer League more encouraged, because McCain to me looks like someone that could play for the Sixers this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree that if McCain's if he was, and he would never be, but let's say he was a number 1 pick. Like, he's not the best player or the second best player, I don't think, on a legit contender. But can he be the 5th best player or 4th best player? I think he could kind of be that right now in a weird way, because he looked very calm out there, and I agree about the facilitating. He had some really nice passes.
I went into the summer league thinking I want Jared McCain on the bench 100%, not starting. I left the first game saying I can see where he could be in the starting lineup next to Maxey.
The biggest question I think the only thing that matters for Jared McCain this year is, can you trust him in a playoff series?
And I think we're so far away from knowing.
We are, but but that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, agree.
And I think in watching him, I think I could.
Maturity of the basketball, and I think bringing Kyle Lowry back does a lot of things, but Jared McCain under Kyle Lowry is very good.
Well, plus he's not a Knick, which is good. Yeah. We can't let them
That's
all.
The final Infinity Stone right
there. So the Knicks were in on Lowry.
I think that is
like embarrassing.
Very thirsty.
Yeah.
Is there anyone like
they
why
really?
didn't they sign Sadiq
How many
Bey?
other Nova players are in the league that they don't have?
Sadiq Bey.
That's the only. So
and Jeremiah Robinson are probably.
So if they would have signed Lowry, they would have had what,
Jerry,
5 of the
Pelicans.
7 Nova guys in the league.
Where's
Jerry.
Pascal? What's his name? He's out of the league.
Oh, Eric Pascal. Yeah, he's not in the league anymore.
Yeah.
That's
It's
it.
a shame.
Chris Jenkins. Get Chris Jenkins back.
Legend.
A legend.
He is a legend. He is a legend.
Chris Jenkins. So, are you happy they re-signed Lowry?
Well, can I give you a Dembona take really quick?
Oh yeah, I love
I
him.
do want to talk at them both.
Yeah, so he's like the complete opposite of McCain for me, where I think he is such an unreal collection. He's like a ball of athletic energy. Like you can see, I rarely, when you talk about how a player picked up basketball late, when I watch him, I don't normally see that. To me, he looks like he is still learning the game of basketball. And I think he's so athletic and so energetic. I think he could like hurt somebody in the NBA right now. But he is going to be, if they can like harness it and like he could be really, really good.
He's a real Nick Nurse project. Like Nick Nurse, they've had these guys up in Toronto over the last couple years.
Chris Boucher is who we were.
Chris Boucher.
Yeah.
He reminds me of him.
He
a
looks
ton.
thicker than him though.
He is thicker than him.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But if he plays next year, he's going to foul out in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna be like it's not gonna be safe for
But
the other people.
it's one of the things I'm happy the Sixers like are starting to address is just like activity, energy around the basket. That's what the Knicks killed them on in the series. And like Dembona is obviously not going to get big time minutes in the playoffs
Unless they
but,
need
like,
someone hurt.
unless they get someone hurt.
Yeah, Brunson, you want to come
Send
to
a
the
message.
lane? Yeah.
I mean,
Send the message.
that type of mentality of
No, I agree.
Yeah, just go get it.
Well, and this is why the Lowry sign made me think of it. Is I got into it with Spike about this. I think I'm right. I don't think the Sixers. I think they're an old and slow team, and so watching Bona out there, it was refreshing. Like he's not going to play this year, but he is so much more athletic. I mean, Maxi's obviously really fast, but he's also somewhat undersized besides his wingspan. Yeah. That I think Bona is like exactly what they need. Like not next year, but the year after, his athleticism will be very refreshing.
And it's the perfect Paul Reed replacement. You know, like
Yeah, he's like Paul Reed.
He's going to be like a Blue Coats like
yeah. Going to a Blue Coats game just to watch him will be quite the thrill.
if he can last 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Without fouling out.
Foul out the first.
Yeah.
Ricky Council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Ricky Council. It's so summer league to be like, Ricky Council's the guy
And
now.
especially for him to make 5 threes, 4 of which are in the fourth quarter. Like, it's very out of
But
character.
that's what we should see from Ricky Council.
I know.
Got the deal.
Well-
now going to the summer league. Like this is.
He's got to look like the best
He's
player.
got to look like the dude out there.
Yeah.
Like,
I
he's
love
got to.
Ricky Council. Though my only observation, and because I caught like the last 3 minutes of the Thunder game because I got home and whatever.
Right.
Like he dribbled down the court and then did like a crazy like behind the back dribble and
Yeah,
then like
he
really
was
thought he was
feeling
KD
himself.
and I
Yeah.
was like, all right, man. Like
Yeah.
you know, I appreciate the summer league
feeling
confidence.
himself.
He had the
He's feeling himself
confidence.
in the game,
Do not need that in a real game. Like
Agreed.
in the regular
Well, do it
season.
now. Do it now.
You can do your heat checks in Vegas or Utah
Yes.
or whatever. But I'm definitely, I'm ready to watch this.
I think he's a bit of a tweener, like body wise, which
Yeah.
I think could impact him. But if he becomes a shooter, he's definitely like a 7th or 8th man in the NBA.
I'm very, very happy Lowry's back. I know that I hear your concerns about the athleticism
Old and slow.
and being old and slow.
Yeah.
But like, I like having a veteran presence around that.
I agree. And I think he's a big time positive locker room guy. He didn't end up playing great in the Knicks series, but he had,
the last
yeah.
few games
Very
were brutal.
disappointed.
yeah, but I thought outside of that, like he was an awesome pickup
Yes.
for other. Like I was shocked how good he was. My only thing is it's just like they got a lot of old guys they're counting on to stay healthy for the playoffs.
Well, the nice part about Lowry's role this year is that he should not be as relied upon as he was last year. Like,
he's gonna play.
Yeah, but they made him start some games. Like I don't know if he's gonna start at all.
All right, how many minutes do you think he'll average? 28, more or less.
28 minutes a game?
Yeah.
I hope it's less.
Like 15.
Yeah, I hope way less than 28.
Okay, so here's what I would say. Like, unless Maxi's your full-time point guard, who's the best backup point guard on the roster? I guess Eric Gordon could do it a little bit because he's.
What about Jared McCain?
Jeremy King.
Okay, maybe.
First unit 2, second unit 1.
I think Lowry's going to play more than you think.
I would like to see a Lowry McCain second unit just so McCain can learn how to play.
Yeah.
With a guy like that.
Be good.
So, I just everything's good in Sixers land right now. Just don't let him get hurt in the Olympics. That's all I care about.
Please.
Just don't let him get hurt.
Yes,
Because
agreed.
I
Well, at
want
least they
to.
don't play for like 2 more weeks.
Yeah. Well, because I want. So they're not playing any more.
I don't think
scrimmages?
so.
Or
I thought they had one more.
I think they have one more warm up.
Technology.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
look
but
it
you're
up.
the only one with the computer.
I know.
Right. Well, we have phones.
Yeah, but then I feel like the computer's faster than a phone.
Yeah, here's a question. If you could remove the cell phone feature of your cell phone, would you rather have a cell phone or a laptop?
So like Okay, there's the handheld, basically just an iPad.
Exactly, yeah. But remove the iPad. A phone or a laptop?
Phone.
I think so too.
It's good.
Well, the point I'm making is you said he has a laptop, but we have phones.
What's the best song on the Zach Bryan album?
So I just drove home from Atlantic City, and I was really into Towers on the way home.
Okay.
I think Towers is very good.
Towers is very good.
I really like Northern Thunder, like we talked about.
Northern Thunder is very good.
American Nights, very good. So 28 to me is a little simplistic. But
28 was my first song that I loved on the album.
Team USA has 4 more exhibition games.
Yeah, you nailed that one, buddy.
It's a showcase.
They're not going to play in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Try 4 more games.
Bad,
Australia and the teams, Australia, Serbia, South Sudan. And
are you sure you're not including their
USA Basketball Showcase?
Okay, all right, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he plays, Embiid's going to play Jokic. They got Germany, who's never.
It would be so funny if he didn't play the Jokic game.
Dude, it'd be so funny.
It would be so
for it.
It would be so good.
Let's honestly
Yeah, it'd be
for
so
it.
good.
Duck him one more time.
Last thing before we wrap up.
Pink Skies is still the best.
Well, okay, this is where I was going to go. I think I gave you a wrong impression of Pink Skies. I texted you saying I don't think it's top 5 on the album, and it might not be, but it's still a great song.
Yeah.
And I actually think it sounds better on the album than it does by itself.
The song that's growing on me the most right now is Funny Man.
So towards the end of the album, right? Yeah. So I've only heard it once or twice, but I agree it's very good. I listened to it today.
I do have problems at the end of the albums, but I usually go all the way through like 5 times, and then I hit the shuffle button.
So it's actually a flip for me. I thought his last album, I liked the first half like way better, and then this one, I think I like the second half.
Me too. I like the second half more.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. Listen to it on
Dude,
the
I'll do my homework.
on your trip to Rochester. Check it out. You gotta listen to it 15 times to like it, and then once after that,
we need a top 5 from you when we come back.
Yeah, your top 5 Zach Bryan songs.
I got one album. You got one album.
Yep.
So send me the album.
All it takes. That's all it takes. All right. Well, have a great vacation.
I know.
Fellas.
Talk to you in a week.
This is good.
Everyone be safe. Enjoy hiking.
We have 4 more exhibition games to react to.
Don't get stuck in the woods.
I won't. You don't. I'm more worried about you.
Try to enjoy.
I think the hiking we're doing is going to be pretty tame.
Dude, if you do the Bumblebee Trail up at Arcadia, you could have, and especially
How do
if you
you
go
know
up to.
Maine
Yeah,
so well?
this is absurd.
Because I went there. I just did.
How many times?
Once. The Bumblebee Trail is very famous, and then
All right, we'll have to look it up.
I've been to a lot
Cascade,
of places. One
now I know to be like, yo, I'm not doing the Bumblebee Trail.
You should. So we hiked Mount Washington, I think. There's one of those. Either way.
I'll text you
Just drive to the
if
top
I get
rather than
service.
hike.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I'll try to enjoy Niagara Falls.
go off the grid.
Go off the grid. Hey, just take the delete.
Are you
Twitter.
gonna tweet you're on a vacation?
No, but all right. So we leave Sunday morning. We fly out 6 a.m. And then the draft's that night for the Phillies.
Oh, right.
That's all I care about.
Obviously.
So I'm gonna have to tweet all the time. Yeah.
Tell Jill, look, I know we're on vacation, but there's a draft pick to be made.
Little busy.
Yeah,
little
exactly.
Busy. But
The
we are
streets need you.
West Coast time, I guess, being over there. So that's gonna be weird. 3 hours behind everyone.
It's weird to think Canada's on West Coast time. I know it is, but it's just weird.
Well, it's
Canada's huge, man.
a big take. It's a big take.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for Eliot Shorr-Parks, James Jackson, and Jack Fritz, just another dynamite edition
Love
of
it.
the Clap Your
guys
Hands
talking hoop.
podcast.
Yeah.
Just 3 guys talking hoop.